Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with the news yesterday that multiple players have tested positive after the Stage 5 major, FormaL and Huke have some interesting things to say about the protocols that were in place at the event. The players that might have been potentially breaking those protocols and fines maybe on the way as a result. Another issue to add to the difficulty ahead of the World Championship. And tweeting your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. I'm really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this is what Dashy has to say after the news that Scump and Envoy have tested positive. I'm pretty sure they're getting better by the day. So that of course is great to see. Whether everything will be okay in time for champs still remains to be seen, as Dashy says here. Damn, they really got both of my sub hard carries unfortunately for the OpTic guys, and this is what Miles Ross says, which I do think was kind of interesting right here, because a few days ago I've been looking at these tweets from Miles and from Maven that have said yes, casters are going to be at champs, and now all of a sudden Miles Ross is tweeting at this man Big Man Toy right here, nope, casters won't be at champs. So who knows who to believe right now? We don't really know, but maybe it's a possibility, right, that as a result, okay, maybe they're going to cancel fans, maybe they're going to do whatever, maybe cancelling casters is part of that, which would be a massive shame, right, because pretty much the only thing that was wrong with the Stage 5 major was that the casters weren't there, and some of the issues that resulted in, so you know, I guess we'll just have to see what happens in the coming days along these lines, because certainly not exactly what you wanted to see. At the same time, the Clayster side of things is still a big question mark. Will he be competing at champs? He seems to be back in business from his holiday. He was doing like a stream yesterday. I think he was playing Splitgate, which you know, come through and hang out tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, Clayster back on the stream, playing with a couple of interesting people. So yeah, I certainly thought this was definitely something to keep your eyes on, right? I mean, he's streaming with the new subloans, all that type of good stuff on the stream again. So you know, you do have to wonder if something's going to happen over the coming days for the subliner side. Of course, there's no hurry necessarily to confirm what their roster is going to be for champs, but maybe Clayster's going to be involved. Who really knows? This game's really interesting, by the way. It's like a hybrid of I don't know. It looks like Halo, looks kind of like Overwatch, and then it has like some Black Ops 3 vibes with like the jetpack type stuff, and like some of the specialist weapons. It seems, I don't really know. I've been watching a bit of it. I don't really understand these type of games, but it seems pretty cool nonetheless. And at least it has a ranked play system, which I guess we would love to see in Call of Duty at some point or another. So this happened yesterday, right? I noticed it actually just before Jake Lucky tweeted it out, but then he kind of got there first. This guy Edgar Allan Pwned on Twitter is the rumored COD burner, like quote unquote rich guy from several years ago. You guys might remember like World War II season, this the COD burner 2018 mania stuff that was going on Reddit at the time, when the COD burner was just leaking all sorts of stuff to do with these teams, like what the roster moves are going to be. And I'm pretty sure that Cronus CDL Intel, his original account was basically just covering whatever COD burner put on the Reddit. He would just tweet it out. That's where it all started. And I'm pretty sure like it kind of came down that this was the guy, and he was called like rich guy or whatever, because apparently he's got a lot of cash. I don't really know. He tweets out a lot of like, high quality food and stuff on the timeline. Anyway, this is what he tweets yesterday. Champs is cancelled. So obviously we hope this isn't the case. I doubt they're going to like straight up cancel it, right? Like that would be ridiculous. But I'm sure they might be thinking about some other options, right? We looked at some of the options they could have on their plate, of course, yesterday. Do they postpone it? Do they cancel the fans? Do they do they just see how things go and hope things work out for the best, which maybe they will do, and maybe it'll be all okay. But remains to be seen. I'm sure big questions are being asked over there behind the scenes right now, exactly what they do. And of course, on the other side of things, you've got some of the players in the crowd, right? This is an image I managed to find of Hydra in the crowd. He was having a good time taking pictures with the fans. And of course, like it's Hydra's like first event of this caliber. If you want to take pictures with him, it's pretty cool. We saw a lot of pros in the crowd, of course. And if you're eliminated from the event, it doesn't really seem like too much of a big deal, right? The problem is, of course, if you do then go to the crowd and take pictures with fans and stuff, and then of course hang out at the hotel bar afterwards, you're more likely to contract the thing, and as a result of that, you might actually test positive for it. And we don't know how many players have tested positive for it as a result, but we've heard Scump and Envoy so far. Pretty sure Temp and Methods also said it was the case for them. So it must be like 7, 8, probably somewhere in this ballpark at least. And if one of your players on your team has got it, then maybe you're more likely to get it. So there could be many that it's happened to right this past weekend. And well, supposedly the protocols were then in place to say, look, players shouldn't really be in the crowd doing this type of stuff. And if you are doing this type of stuff, then you might actually get fined as a result. This is what Hex is talking about here. We'll look at in just a second on the OpTic Chicago podcast yesterday, where FormaL was saying, look, if you get the thing, like it doesn't matter if you have a 1.8 KD at champs going into the winners finals, you're not going to be able to play if you get it right. And then they were like, I don't really want to snitch on some of these players that were going into the crowd at the venue, but of course FormaL's talking about Hydra because that was a pretty obvious one, and saying, look, I mean, these guys might actually get fined as a result of this because there were protocols in place to separate the fans from the pro players, and the pro players breaking that going into the fan lounges, and then realizing these issues, right, and everything comes up, and now all of a sudden champs is potentially in jeopardy. Well, there might be some fines on the horizon for behavior like this.
I missed the crowd. I missed like absolutely just that. The only thing that obviously sucks is that we can't interact with the fans as much, and it only happened like 3 times where people actually came by and was like, yo, can we get a picture? I'm like, sorry, man, these dudes are gonna get fined. They're not supposed to be like doing that.
Is that going to be the same thing for champs?
Yeah.
It has to be.
It has to
Even
be.
probably worse, right?
Probably
Even
worse
if you
because it's not Texas.
If you get COVID and it's Champ Sunday, you're in winners finals, you put 1.8, you can't play.
Look, I thought that coming back and opening it up to the crowd was like a great success. Aside from, the certain things that have happened since. But aside from that, like I thought everybody, like more importantly, aside from like the maybe 10 people and the 3 pro players that were in the crowd taking pictures, not gonna say any names.
Wild, dog.
Not gonna say any names, but
That's
like
wild.
Like, come on, man. Like I know you
Champs
never
is in 2 weeks, bro.
like you never been here before. I get it. Taking pictures and signing autographs like feels good to be loved. I get it, but there's protocols for a fucking reason, man.
Dude,
I thought they were they don't get in trouble for that.
I'm not gonna rat nobody out.
You ain't a snitch.
No, dude, I'd rather lose than be a snitch.
What did I see? Oh, I saw Hydra, dude. I saw Hydra just like...
Okay.
Just, like
No, of course, just because Envoy and Scump got the thing doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get fined or whatever, because they might have been perfectly within the protocols and regulations. Because I imagine that the situation was like, for example, at the event, you couldn't go into the crowd. Maybe that was the idea. That of course, Huke was there. Maybe he was a substitute player or whatever on the Los Angeles Thieves. So maybe that was okay. Maybe there was some regulations as to what the pros were and were not allowed to do. But I know that Scump said, like, I think he even told his mother not to come out to the venue because if he went for dinner with her or whatever, and then she was in the crowd with other people, then all of a sudden, the risk does raise there, and therefore, like, Scump didn't really want to be involved in that, which is certainly cool to see. The problem is then that, like, let's say those were the protocols, then they go to the hotel bar after the fact, right, and they hang out with a load of people, and it's really busy in there, then that's just what everyone does after the event, and then they get it from there, then, that's not necessarily outside of the protocols that you'd get fined for, but still not the ideal result at the end of the day. So Envoy and Scump have it. If you guys weren't aware, we did talk about it yesterday if you missed yesterday's video, but as Grown says, like, it's not just those, of course, it's multiple CDL players tested positive, so who knows exactly what happens here for the next couple of weeks. Champs begins on August 19th. I'm sure they're thinking about this significantly right behind the scenes right now, what exactly they do. We did look at some of the options right yesterday, but will they also be considering on top of this some fines that come in for some of the pro players, right? Because if they were breaking some of these rules and regulations, the protocols, I'm sure the protocols would be much heavier implemented at Champs anyway, because it's in California first of all, but also, right, I'm sure the players don't want to go down this route again, feeling like, okay, yeah, maybe they did make some sort of mistakes right here in terms of how they conducted themselves this past weekend. I know that Joey Nubsy was certainly talking about it on the Reddit right here. There were some posts saying, like, people were disappointed about the way the pros conducted themselves at the event, and the issues it's kind of caused as a follow-on over these last couple of days. And as Nubsy says, look, generally speaking, I agree with this. I think from every side, a lack of responsibility, some selfish recklessness. I will say, though, I feel as a lot of people, including myself, took decent precautions and still ended up with a positive test result. Dylan and Seth were avoiding people at all costs at the venue, strictly speaking on the venue aspect itself, right, which is probably where the protocols are in place and the fines might be, effective, but I don't know what they did outside of that every day. Personally, I sat in the friends and family section, which is people you're going to be around anyway. He continues with a couple of other things. Overall, though, I can't disagree much with what you're saying. We didn't do a great job. I hope everyone has learned from it, but is it going to be too little too late to save Champs being on August 19th through 22nd with the fans in the venue? Because I'm pretty sure they also said in the OpTic podcast earlier on that this past weekend there was like 1,500 fans in the venue or something like that. At Champs, it's meant to be 3,000, 3,500, and there was a Chicago Huntsman event that was meant to happen last season that got cancelled when everything kicked off. That was meant to have 7,000 people in attendance. So, like, there's potential for huge crowds for these events, which would be really cool to see. And Champs is going to be double as big as at this Stage 5 major was. Imagine, like, think how lit that Stage 5 major was. Double that crowd, and now you're really talking, right? You're probably talking about something that maybe the CDL and Activision don't necessarily want to go down the route of. And does the California state government want to allow that either? It's I don't know what happens these next 10 days. It's going to be a very interesting time indeed. The big red button is your best friend, no doubt, bottom right hand corner of the video box. Let's talk about this then real quick, given Champs is occurring. I thought this is pretty interesting from Doug Lee, that he's an analyst for the Los Angeles Grilles. He's talking about the impact of the seeding right for Champs. So let's say you had an 80% chance to win every series, which is probably higher than any team has. FaZe are the only team that's even close to that, and as of late, you probably wouldn't give them an 80% chance against some of the other top competition squads. But let's say you're a Los Angeles Thieves, let's say you're a Florida Mutineers, and you're down there in the lower bracket, and you have an 80% chance to win every single series you play. You're just an absolutely on fire team. You only win the entire tournament just under a third of the time, because you've got to win 5 straight games. And if you're in winners round 2, you would win 76% of the time, 4 possible parts. So if you start in winners round 2, let's say you're Atlanta FaZe, for example, and you do have an 80% chance of winning winning the series, then you actually win the entire tournament 76% of the time or something like that, which is pretty interesting how important the seeding is. Of course, this weekend it's well, pretty much a double chance you're going to win if you're an absolute god tier squad. If you start in winners round 2, then the lower side, which probably is about right in terms of advantage for the winners bracket, but certainly means you only need to win 3 series to win the entire tournament, which is somewhat underwhelming, certainly compared to previous pre-CDL World Championship events. This other was interesting search and destroy report from Standy for round 11 stats right here. Number 1 in both KD and kills per round, while playing Ultra 6 times, Empire twice, and FaZe once. That's pretty remarkable to think about, right? Ultra 6 times, like, Ultra is such a good search and destroy team. Empire also a pretty solid search team, and FaZe most certainly are. And he has a 1.35 KD over all of those games. Kills per round is the highest in the entire league over stage 5. This guy was such a factor, and really came alive in those final few search and destroys, especially the final game where the raid search and destroy game 9, when, like, I don't know how many kills he got, but 11 kills or 12 kills, something along that ballpark. Started off the game 5-0, and really helped him over the line in that series. So completely the ultra reverse sweep, no doubt about that. Thought this interesting as well, right from Lion Man. The Los Angeles Guerrillas cards are coming out. We'll look at this a little bit later today in comparison to some of the Challengers players that are next up on the scene. But yeah, not the prettiest stage. aBeZy has the best overall performance technically with a 65 overall, and it's just brutal to look at. It's kind of funny on the 0-6 match count. It's kind of funny in a way that Lion Man just dropped this on the sideline. Like, no other teams have been announced yet, or like at least what the cards are going to be looking like. But yeah, LHG not looking too pretty at all. And just to finish off with this clip from Crimsix, we looked at another one similar to this the other day. He's absolutely going rogue, getting the gunny hot, let's just say, for the World Championship in 10 days time. Will it be in 10 days time? I guess that remains to be seen. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive quality community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.